about how we can build a headless server. A headless server is just it's a server with no UI. It's essentially, when we're done, it's just going to be looking like a command line executable. How can we do that? So there's a couple of things we need to make sure before we build our server. One of the most important things is that auto start server build is checked. That is very, very important. Make sure that you have your server tick rate and your frame rate set correctly. The way you can calculate your frame rate is just like this says, it's 1 divided by time.fixedDeltaTime will give you this value, and then you take that and convert it to an integer and place it in here. Your server tick rate, since this is an FPS based package, FPS, TPS, we need a high server tick rate, so it's going to be 60, and I give a quick overview of that. High frequency, games like Counter-Strike, we need to really minimize that latency. This kind of goes in that same category. Make sure your scene management is set up correctly. Just do all your checks there, and then the next thing to really make sure of is you have a transport set up, and then that transport is assigned here in this transport tab. All of that should really be taken care of when you click play in the game. So let's say all that is ready to go. Let's go over here to build settings. Select the platform that you want to build for. Where is this server going to run? And for this particular test, it's going to be on my Windows machine. So I'm going to click server build, and I'm going to untick development build because I'm not developing it. This is for production release. And then I'm going to go ahead and say build, and then I'm going to select my server directory, and the output really doesn't matter. This is where it's going to build to. Click select folder, and then let's let it build. Okay, so now we finally have gotten a server to build. So basically this directory, you're going to want to zip up and send it off to where you want to host your build. Now this could either be locally, it could be on a dedicated server, it could be on a home server, it could be on AWS. It really doesn't matter as long as this is a Windows machine, because I've built it for a Windows machine. If you're going to run it on AWS or something, chances are you're going to want to build it for Linux. So I've got it built, so all I have to do is simply double click and run, and if everything is set up correctly, which it is, the very last line should be server started listening. So now that means I have essentially created a headless dedicated server that, as long as this executable is running, people will be able to connect to my machine on, if we look at the transport, my public IP address on port 777. And you could do the exact same thing when you are building for AWS or another machine. They essentially just have to connect on that machine's IP over that port, and you should be good.